AEW Fight Forever has the foundation to be a fantastic wrestling game, but lacks in every other aspect outside of the core gameplay mechanics. What I mean by this is the game itself, if you haven't noticed, plays very similarly to that of the N64 No Mercy, which to me is heralded as the best wrestling game of all time. That being said, the core gameplay of AEW Fight Forever is reminiscent of this and is absolutely fantastic. As a matter of fact, one of the shining stars of AEW Fight Forever comes in the form of its physics, whether it's using the thumbtacks to deal massive damage to your opponent or destroying the barricades that proceed around the ring where the fans are. There's a lot of things about AEW's core mechanics and core gameplay from bell ring to bell ring that is just fantastic. It's easy to pick up and play, and it's a lot of fun. But that's where the good ends with this game. The everything else about the game is shallow in every single aspect. So when you fire up the game, you'll quickly realize that there's only 3 main modes: Exhibition, Online, and Road to Elite. As you would expect, the Online and Exhibition is pretty self-explanatory, but the Road to Elite is essentially their campaign mode. And this campaign mode was utterly disappointing in my opinion. And there's multiple reasons for this. Road to Elite, the way it's set up is it's set up in 4 blocks. Each block has 4 weeks, 3 weeks of Dynamite plus a pay-per-view. And in which case you'll play through the story, and depending on the decisions you make and what happens is what affects where you go next. I did 2 playthroughs of Road to Elite, one with Kenny Omega, one with a created wrestler. And in my experience, it is very disjointed, and sometimes your decisions don't mean squat. And what I mean by this is, in my first playthrough, I did it with Kenny Omega. I won the Battle Royale that you start off with. I challenged for the championship, won the championship, only for the next block to start, and my championship is gone. It's as if me winning the championship didn't happen. There was no title defenses, no storyline of me defending my championship, nothing. I became AEW champion, and it meant nothing because the next block, it's as if it didn't happen. Furthermore, there's also later on, I ran into a scenario where I was feuding with Death Triangle. And in my first playthrough, I chose to reject their offer to join them, in which case that leads to a feud where I go up against them. Okay, that makes sense. With my created wrestler, I was presented with the similar choice to join them or go against them. This time, I decided to join them. Only the result was the same in that they felt like, well, you're not standing with us, so therefore I have to feud against them. So regardless of what choice you make there, you're feuding against Death Triangle. So it kind of made that choice irrelevant. And this is the aspect that is felt throughout your playthrough. Now, I will say is, in between your events, in between your Dynamites and your pay-per-views, you have options. You have options to work out to build stat points. You can do a press conference to boost your confidence, etc. The one thing to make note with Road to Elite is if you're using an existing AEW wrestler, earning stat points is irrelevant because you can't tweak the character stats in any way, shape, or form. Whereas if you use a created wrestler, the stat points, you actually use them and then to upgrade your character so that they can be stronger. What this means, however, is that for every single time you create a wrestler, in order to have them on the same playing field as the main AEW roster, you have to do Road to Elite, as that is the only way to make your created wrestler stronger and get the perks that other wrestlers have. That can get very, very tedious, considering that the Road to Elite's quest and story isn't the greatest to begin with. So if you're creating multiple wrestlers, you got to do this multiple times, and it can get very, very repetitive. Furthermore, what makes it worse with the created wrestler aspect is not only is the created wrestler very, very shallow, you have very little options for faces, for eyes, for body types, etc. It's very, very shallow. But not only that, every single creation you make cannot be shared with everybody else like it can in 2K23. There is no sharing your creations at all. There's no downloading other people's creations at all. It is very, very shallow. So not only do you have shallow options within the creator wrestler, you can't even share them. Furthermore, when you go to match types, the match types, I don't understand. How is it that Road to Elite has a gauntlet match, but you can't select it in the main game? Furthermore, this game promotes 4 players, but there's only 3 match types that supports 4 players. Fatal 4-Way, Tag Team, Battle Royale. That's it. Aside from that, you do have the mini games that you can dink around with, but the mini games, they're fun little breaks from the core aspect of the game, and yeah, they can be fun, but I didn't care too much for them as I'm a wrestling fan, so the mini games, yeah, they're nice, but I don't really care for them. Some people might find some enjoyment, but from the core wrestling aspect, there's only 3 modes for 4 players. The ladder match that's there, yeah, that's only 1v1 for some reason. I don't know why there's not a Fatal 4-Way ladder match. It's beyond me. There's no Iron Man match. I mean, what do you mean there's no Iron Man match? Why can't you put a time limit and keep score? Like, I don't get it. Basic features that you would expect in a 2023 wrestling game are not here. And this is what makes AEW Fight Forever very, very difficult to recommend to anyone other than an AEW enthusiast. That being said, one of the perks outside of the gameplay for AEW Fight Forever comes in the form of the fact that they are not doing an annual release, unlike 2K. They are sticking with this game for the foreseeable future, so it will be supported. So if you do buy Fight Forever, it's the only wrestling game you have to buy for it for a while until AEW decides to make another one, which could be whenever they choose to do so, as opposed to 2K, where 2K23 is an annual release. Aside from that, this game is fun when you play it, but fun only in short bursts and nothing more. There's nothing else that is positive about it in the sense of outside of the match. And, I'll log on. I had fun. I log on, I play for an hour. That's about it. Then I get bored, right? There's not a lot of modes. There's not a lot of matches. Not a lot of features, right? They even added FTR as part of the seasonal pass. But the funny thing is they put FTR in as individuals. The team FTR, you have to go through the settings and actually make the damn team, which is baffling to me. I'm like, why isn't it automatically created considering it's part of the season pass? These are just massive oversteps all across the board. In short, the best way to describe Fight Forever is the core gameplay is fantastic, better than WWE in my opinion, but everything else is so shallow that I cannot in good faith recommend this to anyone other than an AEW enthusiast, or if you are going to buy it, buy the game at a significant discount. Overall, I would give AEW Fight Forever a 6 out of 10. This is Veteran Gamer, and I hope to see you guys next time.